Hello and welcome to someone's got their microphone muted there. Welcome to the Roundtable. My name's Russell and I am the moderator for this session. And amazing fireside chat there with Lynn and Jody. And in this Roundtable discussion, we have a discussion around to the youth: lead with heart, build with purpose, and embrace responsibility. We have an amazing set of panelists here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 30-second introduction from each of you. And then once we had the introductions, then we'll get straight into the questions. So we'll start to my right, this side. This side. There we go. So Mazni, you are up first. So please introduce yourself and welcome as well to the GatherVerse Youth Summit.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Russell. Hi, everyone. A very good morning. It is actually 1:15, almost about 1:30 a.m. in Singapore.
Oh, God. Good morning indeed.
Yeah, I am Mazni Go, and I'm the founder of mindcoach.sg. I've got over 20 years of experience in the corporate world, from technology space, and I also have done business consulting and also entrepreneurship. I help individuals and teams navigate transitions with clarity and purpose. So I'm also passionate about empowering people to lead with empathy and resilience. I feel honored to be here to share insights on how we can build a more compassionate and responsible future together.
Thank you for joining us, Mazni. And we'll go to our next contestant, or not contestant, actually, panelist. But Dishan, over to you. Please, 30-second introduction from yourself and welcome to the GatherVerse Youth Summit.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dishon J. Mochia. I am the founder of Apishi Technologies, where we use data and technology to create immersive experiences tailored to businesses' specific goals. So if it is your brand, you're trying to make it more immersive, or you have a workplace where you have employees and want to keep them a bit longer so they can be more productive, we are your partner. I live in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Dishan. And now we head over to the AI expert himself, Matt. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and welcome to the GatherVerse Youth Summit.
Hello, I'm very thankful for being here, Russell. So my name is Matt Magera. I'm the CEO of Talanta AI. So a little bit about what we do. So I run a job technology platform based here in Kenya as well, like Dishon. So we help people get jobs. And on the other hand, we are helping recruiters and HR manage and hire people. We are an AI-first platform. So we built a lot on top of the new AI technologies. And I'm happy to be here and share my experiences and the work I've done over the past couple of years. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us, Matt Magara. Now heading over to Ralph. Welcome, Ralph. Please, a 30-second introduction from yourself. And Graysoft Technology. That sounds great name.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. My name is Isa Raphael. I am the CEO and founder of Graysoft Technologies here in Nigeria, Africa, by the way. And we do a couple of things around emerging technologies like extended reality, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. We have a unique focus on agri-tech as well, because we see that Africa is agriculture is Africa's superpower. So we're innovating heavily around that space and to bring the youth back to agriculture, and all of that. So that's what we do currently here. I'm excited to be here and to share what we've been doing and how the youth can take leadership of the coming generation.
Pleasure to have you with us, Ralph, and thank you very much for your introduction. And Khalid, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. My name is Khalid El Garoud. I'm from the Kingdom of Bahrain, leading the organizational Growth Foundation, which we operate in Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, and in Bali. We work very closely with family offices, and we build succession plan for new generation with family office. As well, we focus on the youth development through internship programs and also youth empowerment programs, and also we work very closely with the young ones in building their confidence and how they can overcome bullying in their young age.
Well, thank you for joining us, Khalid, and that's amazing that you do that. Very excited to hear more from yourself. And sorry, I got to ask, how do you say your name? Is it Abhilekh? Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Awesome. Please introduce yourself, Abhilekh.
Hi, Russell, and hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. This is Abhilekh Verma. Though I live in Hyderabad, India, but currently I'm in Singapore for GTEx, and I'm also a Microsoft MVP in AI. So I deliver a lot of lectures on ChatGPT and Copilot and run my edtech startup as well. This is my fourth time at GatherVerse, so it's always a pleasure to be here as a panelist and discuss more for the youth. So my startup solves the same problem which everyone is talking about: jobs and internships using AI/ML to match recruiters with students looking for jobs and internships. But I also spend a lot of my time, learning things with AI and ML. So yeah, lucky to be here again and looking forward for a great session today. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Abhilekh. And Dorcas, welcome. I think that's how you say your name, right? I just want to make sure I get that correct. Awesome. So please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dorcas Njuguna. I am an executive leadership coach by John Maxwell. I'm also the founder of IHR Solutions. We work very closely with the youth, and one of the most critical things I do every quarter is interact with the universities and see how we can link them up with the industry, or basically link them up with what is happening at work. So I'm happy to be here. This is it should be my second time at GatherServe, and I really love the work you do.
Amazing. Yes. It's great to have you and Abhilekh back. And thank you so much, both of you, for coming back. And last but not least, Alexander, welcome. Please introduce yourself. And it's great to have you with us as well. Oh, please unmute your microphone. Your microphone's muted.
You had
there we go.
Muted it.
Now. We can hear you now.
Yeah. So good evening, Russell. It is now it's 8:30 here in Saudi Arabia. I am based in Jeddah. I head the e-commerce operation for grocery business, and I am here in Saudi Arabia for last 2 decades. It has been a long journey. Incidentally, this is my second roundtable with GatherVerse, and Abhilekh is the one very familiar because in the last one we were together. So it's like homecoming.
Amazing.
Yeah. I have been doing a lot of interviews, and I believe that we have to mentor and pass on our knowledge to the next generation. And that is where my average age of my team would always be in the range of 30. And that is something I love to mentor, guide, and build teams. And not only what you do in office, but beyond office, how can I help and add value to youngsters? That has been my goal all along. And I look forward to hear from the eminent panelist here, as well as share my own experience of how I deal with youngsters and what we need to do going forward with all the changes that is happening around the world. Yeah. So I believe the summit is at the right time with the right topic for us to share and learn from each other.
Absolutely, Alexander. Couldn't agree with you more. And thank you very much for joining us. And last but not least, myself, my name is Russell Bundy. I'm the co-founder and chief visionary officer at Just Verify, where we're building the AI, the trust layer for AI infrastructure. And also, I am the director of partnerships at GatherVerse as well, where I handle pretty much all the partnerships. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. So let's get into these amazing questions. So the first question is, what does it mean to lead with heart in today's advancing world? We'll head over to Dorcas, and then we'll head over to we'll go to Alexander. So Dorcas, we'll start with you.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to start with a quote, and this comes from interacting with a lot of youth. One of the quotes I really like going with is, "We rise by purpose and not position. Leadership begins the moment you choose to care enough to act. And I like the question you've asked, because one of the things that I've come to learn, having interacted with the youth, and especially in a very close manner, because my background is in HR, when you're thinking about how can you, how do you lead with a heart? Majority of the people think that you show up, especially for women leaders, you show up and you're going to always show empathy in all wrong ways. But for me, when you talk about leading from the heart, it means empathy, but being shown in the right manner and being very authentic. And most of the time, when you're being authentic, it means you have to connect to the person you're talking to. So from where I sit and where I come from, when I am mentoring, when I am even looking for the right talent for my clients, one of the questions I always keep asking myself is, will this person come to contribute to this team? And will it matter? What kind of impact are you coming to bring? Not only the skill, but you as a person, what are you coming to bring? One of the difficult things we see is we hire for tokenism. So you have to do a balance. If it's in Kenya, it's not really sometimes about gender. Sometimes it's about ethnicity from where you come from. And we always have this lingo, and my two Kenyans can agree. We have the lingo we call hire the African, or I would say the Kenyan face. So are you showing empathy when you're doing this? Are you leading that graceful way of knowing that you're choosing the right person? So my biggest ask, I always ask someone when I'm interacting with them is, how centered is your decision? Is it because you want to make a decision with your mind, either factual and with numbers, or are you going to consider that that factual decision you're about to make with the data you're using is going to affect a human being? And one of the learnings I learned during COVID, where we had to make a decision based on numbers, but it also meant we have to look at the people we're interacting with. Right now, it's the inverse. It's not COVID, but now we're looking at AI. What decisions are we making, and how is it going to affect the people who are at work? Are we going to focus on simplicity in terms of clicking and just getting the solution from AI? Or are we going to ask ourselves that we're going to bring the human perspectives into the discussions to have a better contribution? Yeah.
No, I agree with that so much. And authenticity, absolutely. And also human values is fundamental when it comes to today's technology, and making sure that we lead with that. Which brings me to yourself, Alexander. Obviously, Saudi Arabia and the UAE and places like that. You guys are more kind of like more about relationship and trust and having that authentic relationship. So from your point of view, how does this question relate to the Middle East region in particular?
No, absolutely. I think what you have summarized in few words stands out for the Middle East and the Asian business, Asian economy, or the Asian world and the Middle East world. The priority is always on the relationship, how you build. So it's so opportune that your first question is talking about leading from heart. So one of the earlier companies where I was working, the CEO used to always say that we are the upside down pyramid. So it's to show it like this, that I am at the bottom and you are on the top. So I am supposed to help and guide. So it is more of a service, servant leadership. Is to say it's more like a servant leadership. If you are at the bottom of the chain, it doesn't mean that you are not useful. I need to be relatable to you. So I can give an example from Bible that if you look at Jesus washing the feet of disciples, that itself was showing that it was not the status, but it was more of a service. And you exemplify, you show it to the world that even though you are a leader, you are not scared, feeling ashamed to reach out to people and go to the washing of the feet. That itself was a great example. So I told you about the CEO as well as what happened in the Bible. Now coming to Middle East, wherever we work, right up to from the CEO down to everyone, the first thing that we do is whenever you go, you meet someone, it's besides asking how are you and all, you always offer the local drink. Tea, coffee is mandatory, but if not, more than that is the kawa. That is usually we give in Saudi Arabia and Middle East. to show that how close we are to people and how much it values to talk from heart. The business can run, but if you don't have relation, if you don't have connections, that business doesn't succeed and it doesn't sustain for long.
Right, I completely agree with that. I mean, obviously, cultural differences and everything like that, and it's fantastic that the Middle East lead with relationship first, right? Because, for example, I can take here in the UK as an example. Here in the UK, it's all about, okay, let's say you want to raise money, for example. Let's say you're a student and you've just done a startup and you've just passed your exams, you passed your MBA, and you want to get investment for your startup, right? Well, here in the UK in particular, if you try and raise investment here, they're like, okay, what traction do you have? Do you have a product? Okay, do you even have an MVP? How much traction do you have on MVP? Does it even fit into the right market? It's a lot different here in the UK than what it is over in the Middle East. I've kind of noticed that fundamental difference, and it's great to see that, like, when it comes to the culture within the Middle East, how you guys leave a relationship first, because that I think that's more fundamental than how much money can you make, right? Okay, we all want to make money, we get that, but it needs to have a starting point, and the foundation for where you guys are is the relationship first, which I think is fantastic that you guys do that. So, but anyway, moving on to the next question. So, which is, what are the biggest challenges young change makers face in leadership today? It's a very interesting question. So we'll bring Matt into this, and also we'll bring Khalid as well into this. So Matt, over to you.
I think that's a very, very interesting question. I think something. I think leadership is a journey. That's how I've always taken it. It's not something anyone walks in having all the answers. And as being a young change maker, being a young innovator, some of the biggest challenges we face is things like imposter syndrome. So guys are really struggling to feel like they can do whatever it is they want to do. And this is a challenge that really combats people today. And I think, what I realized over the years is sometimes you just need to do these things. Just need to do it. Like, there's no perfect answer. There's no perfect way to accomplish anything. Just need to go out there and get things done. So, and that helps you battle the challenges with imposter syndrome, with self-doubt, with and all these other things. Because I came to realize, like, most of the bottlenecks or most of the hurdles are usually more of internal rather than external. Yes, some guys might complain about things like ageism, like what's it called? There's this thing there's ageism, there's gatekeeping and all that. But you come to realize that most of the hurdles are actually internal. It's young people who fear going out there and putting themselves out there and trying to challenge themselves and do something new. So for me, I usually feel it's just go out there, do your best, and that's what counts at the end of the day. The fact that you've been able to go out there and accomplish something that most people maybe sat back at home and didn't do it. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I think confidence is fundamental. If you don't have confidence, then how can you push yourself towards anything and do anything, right? So I think it's really awesome that you're bringing that up in particular, Matt. And, another thing that was brought up also in one of the earlier roundtable discussions was also hope, right? Hope for the future, hopeful for a better life in terms, for themselves, but also in terms of humanity too, or whatever, drives you, so to speak, to move forward, right? Another thing as well could be great, which I think is also fundamental, like Alexander and Khalid, for example, are mentors, right? Being able to have the right guidance to guide you also would be another, fantastic way in which can also help youngsters pass the biggest challenges, or at least help mitigate the making less mistakes, right? So, Khalid, which brings me on to you for yourself. What are the biggest challenges young change makers face in leadership today from your point of view and from your lens? Oh, you need to unmute your microphone, Khalid.
I think the biggest challenge that the youth is facing especially the change makers, is that they need to have the chance to do and implement what they want to do. Nowadays, when we started the internship program, we find out that most of the corporate, they don't give the youth who just graduated from university the chance to work for them, because their excuses is that you don't have experience. If you don't give them the chance to showcase their talent, how will you know that they are a great asset to your organization? It happened that in 2013, I was with the IVLB, a program by the State Department, with another 20 people from another places from the world. And we did visited 5 states in the United States. And that's what made us go back and create a program called the Social Entrepreneurship Program, where the youngster have to find challenges, an environment challenge, an economic challenge, a social challenge, a culture challenge, and how they can convert the solution for those challenges into a profit-making solution. That was giving them the chance to showcase their talent. That was giving them the chance to express how the young ones can find solutions for their countries. And how they can also grow their businesses from a startup to established business, and then help also the unemployed people.
That's fantastic.
Every single thing that we have faced, which was a challenge for the youth, the solution, the answer for it, was a proof to everyone that the youth are a talented leader, and they are the future of their countries, and they are the future of their neighborhood and their community. They just need a chance. So this is the biggest challenge that we find out. The youth don't have enough chances, and we should extend the hands to them and give them the chance and the needs that they want. If we do this collectively, we can see not only economy is changing, we can also see a beautiful change on the economy and in the technology. My good friend Matt is an IT person, as I heard. And young leaders, if they get the chance, he can confirm as well how they will be talented, not only to have ChatGPT, but we will going to have lots of other robotics, future solutions in medical, and how advanced the future can be yesterday, not tomorrow.
I like that. That was a mic drop moment right there, Khalid. But no, I completely agree with you 110%. And I think if you do allow the youth to have opportunities, absolutely, it's important to have that, because when I got into entrepreneurship and stuff like that, I never had any opportunities. I had to go out there, make my own opportunities, work my way up in companies, get the experience, etc. Then once I get the experience, then go and create my own thing. And, I had to work from the ground up. And, I think it's fundamental that we do give the youth the opportunities to allow them to establish their future so that they can become and build their own businesses or become part of another company where they can be a fantastic asset for that. So I completely agree with you 110%. And thank you for sharing that, Khalid. Yeah, sure. Alexander, what's up?
Just wanted to know whether we can add to whatever our eminent panelist is saying. We can add to it, or we have to.
Well, what I do is I kind of do fire rounds. I do one question, two people, and then if you want to add something, by all means, put in the chat, and then we can always jump in. But please go ahead. If you had something to say, please go ahead.
Yeah, just one anecdote I'll tell you. One of the guy, he joined us as a helper, but however, I saw potential that he could be a good data analyst. And after a period of 3 months of training, he didn't know what Excel spreadsheet is about, what PowerPoint is all about. But then taking him through this hand-holding cycle, he is today one of the good data analysts we have got. He was as a helper, he was a laborer, but then the potential was seen, and he was given that opportunity. So to Khalid's point, absolutely, if we give them an opportunity and we build them by hand-holding, I can see a tremendous potential in a lot of youth Even we started like that, without anything. We started and we built over a period of time.
Especially in the age of AI, absolutely. I think it's fundamental that we do that. So this goes on to my next question now, which is, what is the responsibility of youth in creating a better future for themselves? I'm sorry, someone's got their microphone muted. Alexander, could you mute your microphone, please? Thank you very much. What is the responsibility of youth in creating a better future for themselves and the next generations? I want to bring Masni into that, and also Deshan also will head over to you after. And I just also got a comment. Oh no, don't worry. Masni, please join us and share your thoughts on this.
Yep. What I would like to say is actually for the younger generation to create. I think most of the time today, what we are looking at is sustainability. So I think if the youth come forward and then champion sustainability projects, even like inclusivity and ethical practices. So I think that will really bring them up to be more responsible, and then that can also educate the next generation. So for example, like starting social enterprise that would actually drive positive change for the society and future generations. So yeah, that's my thoughts around the responsibility of the youth to move forward.
No, I agree with you 110%. And I'll just kind of add my own bit onto that, which is, I would say when it comes to like AI and stuff like that, I think if they kind of learn the fundamentals of AI, right? And I understand that the youth is growing up with AI, but I think if you really get to understand it, I mean, it's kind of like we're at a stage now where we have no choice but to learn it, right? Like you haven't got a choice in the matter. You have to do it whether you like it or not. And I know that's horrible to say or hear, but it's kind of like the truth, right? And I think if the youth really sort of get into grips with AI and really understand it and really push themselves and really get to know it like inside out, then I think that will be able to advance them into whatever career which they want to do. Do you agree with that, Masni?
Yep, definitely. Yep. So it's I think if they actually step up and create and champion that movement, I think it's definitely going to be helpful to the next generation. So that means it's like hand over. Like for us now, at this age, we are already moving forward. So the next generation, like Matt, they should step up as well. Yeah.
Deshan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the youth's biggest responsibility is embracing and having a long-term perspective. Because when you have perspective, every choice you make, whether physical, mental, or even digital, it shapes your future and the world you're trying to build. So for example, if you're in your 20s and you try and maybe you neglect your health or even learning and say there is time later, then you're missing the bigger picture. So responsibility kicks in when you realize your actions today have a ripple forward. So you start small, you curate what you eat, consume what you consume, which means digitally and physically, and you prioritize your well-being and then act with intention. Because when you act with intention and you have that perspective, you focus on the future, not now, which means you build for the future and the purpose of the next generation.
Matt, Matt, I want to bring you on this quickly because obviously you have also your own company. Do you agree with all these sentiments here?
I think young people play a crucial role. Oh, you can hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
I think young people play a crucial role. Like if you look at a continent like Africa, where over 70% of the population is purely young people. Actually, sometime last year, we had a number of demonstrations, primarily led all across the continent, led by young people. I think Gen Z has become a very popular word on the continent since then. You see, like, people across the continent are really feeling that they need to take a step in controlling their future and shaping what their outlook looks like. Because you see, we have a lot of issues here in Africa in terms of like the opportunities you can get in terms of personal growth, in terms of career opportunities and all that. So young people are being intentional about taking a step towards shaping their own futures and doing all this, both politically, both in the technology fields, both in education, in science, and in all those industries. So I feel that what we should do as maybe leaders and pioneers in our different spaces is motivate these young people. I think Alexander mentioned about how somebody came into his company who didn't do anything with data analysis, and then after a while they realized he's the best person in his company for that role. So I think what young people really need is just that push, that motivation, that guidance, and they will take the step, they take the initiative themselves to take up the responsibility of creating a better future.
Ralph and Abhilekh, I can't say your name, I'm sorry. We'll head over to you guys next. I can see you guys kind of going backwards and forwards in the chat. So I know there's a lot of what people have to say in terms of that subject, but obviously I want to make sure we get through all the questions because we are limited on time. And also you can add obviously your piece as well within this next question, which is, what small everyday actions can young people take to drive impact over time? So Abhilekh, is that how you say your name? Sorry.
Yeah, that's correct. It's Abhilekh.
Sorry?
It's Abhilekh.
Abhilekh.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? And also please do add to the previous conversation as well.
Yeah, I mean, AI is literally changing lives. So as I've mentioned in the chat, like China has made it compulsory for class 1 and 12, students, like from starting 8 hours of teaching at least every calendar year, right? When it comes to making everyday impact in terms of what young people can do to, do things. So I think one of the key things is about doing more volunteer work, doing more volunteering locally. Either you can start volunteering for Toastmasters, TEDx. You can support peers, or you can practice sustainability with the UN SDG goals, right? Also you can use social media right now. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, there was no so much craze on social media, right? So you can create a lot of awareness. There are different websites like change.org, so you can create a lot of awareness about important critical issues. Right, and the most important thing which I believe every country should learn is about building good habits. I mean, I can take an example of when I was in Tokyo. I could see literally the young kids crossing the road, but making sure that they are carrying each other's hands. The teacher don't have to instruct. So it's been there in Japan. They get this early good habits. They know it. They have to help others first rather than thinking about themselves. Which I have learned it from Tokyo, right? So it's about kindness, showing kindness. These things, very limited things, but then this can really influence a lot of people, and this could actually create a ripple effect of positive change. So by doing all those kind of day-to-day such kind of examples, I'm sure the youth can not just motivate others, but also take up some leadership roles and also live a life with great purpose every single day.
No, I agree with that 100%. And, I think there's, honestly, there's so many things that you could add to that, right? In terms of small things that everyday actions young people can do, right, to drive the impact over time. So, like, for example, one thing could be time management, right? Just a simple thing like that, like being able to, use your calendar, time it wisely, figure out, okay, when I'm going to work out, or if they are at that age, of course, like 18 or over, when am I going to work out in the gym, or, where do I then get my groceries if I'm living on my own, stuff like that. But also, like, in terms of studying, right? Like, for example, are you going to do an hour research here? Are you going to be, teaching something potentially? Like, so definitely, like, these fundamentals and confidence and all these other things that we've spoken about so far, all of this adds up, and all these small things come together to create, allowing a better future for the youngsters. So Ralph, over to you. What small everyday actions can young people take to drive impact over time from your point of view?
All right, thank you. So I was just going to start from where you left off. So I think it starts from building a very strong habit and working on yourself first before you try to make impact on the future or on other people. So it starts, of course, with building such great habits over time, ensuring that your purpose is known, ensuring that you, as a young person, are committed to really strong values and staying close to your values. And once that's done, and you know that, well, this is great, you've built up something that's wonderful and that should be learned and used by others, you might want to start using platforms like the social media, which is decentralized information sharing now, to share what you believe, should be to the benefit of people. For example, you can use social media, for example, to share what good governance would look like. How people should demand for accountability from governance. How you think that certain status quo that has not contributed to the growth of society or community or group of people can be changed, and to what else. And of course, like I said, it starts with yourself, and that means that you must have, first of all, done your research, done your work, done your personal building on your own self before you can communicate this to other people to use, right? Change is built through habits and not just headlines, all right? And again, this is why it needs to start with you as a person. So I think that our young people, first of all, especially the young people of today, need to do a lot of work on themselves. And I can't emphasize that enough. And this is simply because you find out that most young people currently have this this attention deficit disorder and are unable to really pay attention to something for so long. But if you're going to build anything that will be sustainable, you're going to build strong systems. It requires a lot of time for analyzing, studying, feasibility studies, understanding what the status quo is, taking time to learn what is a better place to be at, and communicating that with your team, for example, or the people who will build that with you. This requires a lot of patience, which are things that this current day, young people don't have. So they will first of all need to take a lot of time to build, that habit into themselves. And once that has happened, they should be able to communicate that to a team, to a community of people using social media and whatever that is to pass this information, forward. And hopefully this all happens and they have strong footing, then they can take that forward to mentoring peers, okay, on such an everyday thing. I currently mentor a lot of young people, all right, and their lives get better as a result, right? So you want to commit to mentoring other people, other young people like yourselves, calling them up, because you will be amazed at the amount of young people who don't have values, who are just chasing shiny things, who are just all over YouTube trying to create content over to make money, or to go on TikTok and stuff. And that's just all. Why are you doing this? What does it? It is an end to them instead of being a means to an end. There's nothing else that most of today's young people are chasing other than just to make money and what is the next shiny thing to chase after. That has to change. And once we find that change, it has to grow and it has to be consistent. This would be my 2 cents advice to young people.
I mean, thank you for sharing your perspective, first of all. And it's interesting because in the age of AI now, it's kind of like, is that even possible, right? And I can see, by the way, a bunch of comments from the panelists here, all commenting in the side chat here. For example, Masni saying, like taking small, consistent steps, especially in line with their values, will be impactful as one grows and matures. I think I completely agree with that, Masni. And there's such a big topic that we could, be here all day discussing about. But fundamentally, what you said, Ralph, is true. What you said, Masni, is true. And I think what everyone has said in this panel so far is very true, which is which kind of leads me to the next question, which is, how can young leaders inspire others to take responsibility for the future, right? And Khalid, I can see you smiling on this one. So let's bring you on this particular question. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think first we need to have a safe environment for the youth to grow. for them to build a better future. And to do so, the education have to be updated with the trend of the economy. What is the future economy and what do they need? If we are going to have the same education system that we had it in our day implemented today, we will not have a bright future for the young generation. So education have to be updated. And if we want the outcome of the youth education to be bright and right, we have to have also a safe environment in their education zone, like in their school, in their university. We started a program back in 2008, and we are implementing it till today, a youth empowerment program, focusing in letting the youth overcome their challenges with bullying and their fear of standing in front of people and speaking, how they can accept others, how they can manage their time, and how they can build the small steps with their leadership style. If we don't give them the chance and how they can over those challenges today, how are they going to build a better future tomorrow? Because if those small things is not implemented and you have improved the education, they are not ready for it. You have to empower the youth first, improve the education, make it updated with what is the world is in need for, and that's how you can see a bright future.
Absolutely.
So steps like this is only the steps that can be implemented in the part of education. When it comes to their future work, especially in Corona, some of the universities for their graduation, for the students' graduation, they had to do an internship program in industrial areas. But they cannot because, everyone was staying at home. That's why we also have implemented for the young leaders an online internship program where thousands of people was graduated during the period of Corona online. And we have given them the right experience, which was matching even better than having a physical attendance in an office. Solutions is there. But what we need to do is to have a collective efforts from the private sector to help the youth to become who they want to be and let them overcome the challenges when it comes to their education, to their innovation, and to their future planning.
Dorcas, I can see you smiling and agreeing and mumbling in the background there. Please jump in on this. So what are your thoughts?
So one of the things, and it's a common disease we see, we seek to hire all the time the right talent, but there isn't a proper linkage that has been put in place where you have a proper program that actually sees somebody graduating, either getting into a proper planned internship, not internship in the sense that I'm doing it for the school submission, but internship in the sense that this person is going to be integrated to work so smoothly that you're going to get it right in your succession plan. Now, remember, we only focus, and this is unfortunate for the older generation, we only focus on us being the better version of the right skills that is required in the current marketplace. However, we need to ask ourselves, in the age of AI right now, what kind of skill do we require? And then what kind of programs do we have to put in place to have this person come and take over and either be the next CEO? We're looking at people like Elon Musk. We're looking like everyone who has created these AI systems. But the question we're asking ourselves is the institute preparing that young individual for the current market there? Because in my place as a coach, I find myself going back and asking this person, what is your purpose? What is your end goal? And one of the interesting things everyone wants to be right now as a young person is they want to lead, they want to create something. But beyond creation, they also need to know how will they collaborate, how will they partner and integrate with other people, because that is how you end up doing great things when you come together. And some of these things you don't get to learn as an individual. You actually get to learn in certain environments at work that enable you to see that I can be a great contributor, but I am not the main worker. So who's going to be the main worker at these current times we are in? The younger generation. They'll come simplify how work should be done and even improve what we call working smart. But the most unfortunate thing is we have theoretical solutions which are yet to be implemented. And if we get it right in that implementation, I feel the future will be bright when we're thinking about succession management of the right skill that would take over. Yes.
That's so interesting, and thank you for sharing that as well. And I think we've been having a great fire round here, back to back of great thoughts. So thank you both of you, Khalid and Dorcas, for that. And I truly believe both of what you're saying, and also when it comes to the age of AI, like how you're saying, how do the youth thrive in that, right? Or how do they become leaders within the AI age? And that's really hard to do because AI is always changing every day, as we all know. And it's like one day one thing's great, and then the next minute, like that's gone out the window, and now something new's come in. So it's really hard to also try and keep up when it comes to the education point of view, because obviously we want to make sure that we keep the education updated as much as possible and keep giving the youth the chances. So yeah, it's very difficult, but I'm sure there'll be ways that we can figure this out. And as humanity has always been, we've always survived and thrived through many times over the hundreds of years. So my next question, though, which is, what internal barriers prevent young people from taking on leadership roles, and how can they overcome them? One of the things we spoke about previously was confidence. So Alexander, what are your thoughts on this?
So, Russell, thanks a lot. I was, in fact, expecting to answer this question. So, it's like, yeah. So, it's a very interesting thing. It's the one you talk about the internal barriers, and then second one is how do you overcome that? So, it's very interesting. I'll give an example. There are two things happen. One is the fear is there, whether I'll be able to achieve this or not. So I'll give example. My daughter, for anything she's doing, we tell, okay, 95% if you achieve something is great. But then her feeling is that, no, I must achieve 100% perfection. So you are trying to go for perfection, and it also brings a sense of fear that, I'll fail. I'll probably not be able to achieve these things. So that becomes the first barrier for them: fear of failure, and the thought process that I have to be perfect in everything. Right. The third part that generally comes up when you're sitting in a meeting or when you're in a social groups, the age bias comes. Somebody is young but has a very good opinion and wants to do something. So you have age bias. Oh, he's youngster, he doesn't have an experience. What is going to do? However, that is where you are in a corporate and all, but there are youngsters who go out of their way and they question the entire logic. And you probably have so many names, you'll probably talk about Greta, you'll talk about Malala. So these are a couple of youngsters who have broken those internal barriers to come forward to it. Now, there would be many such things, you are not confident of ourselves. Some of our eminent panelists have spoken about it. But this fear, this feeling that, I will not be able to achieve, or what kind of support the community is not supporting. So those kind of things come up. Now, how do you get across on this? Probably build a kind of network, build a support system. These I usually tell the youngsters within the group that, in case you want to create an opinion, maybe, first time you find a failure, don't worry about it. Try and build smaller islands of network, which will start helping you out and backing you up. By that, you start building yourself. And each one of them has a unique perspective, but how do you get that unique perspective? is by projecting yourself, by talking about it. In our times, you did not have this opportunity, but today you don't need to wait for anyone. There is Insta available, there is LinkedIn available, there are different
Yeah.
social media groups available where you can start voicing yourself. In our times, even one article if you write, you'll probably go through several failures before it comes into the newspaper. But today you don't need to worry about editing or anything. You can just go ahead and talk about yourself.
Exactly.
The last part which comes up for the internal barrier, on LinkedIn or on Facebook, you'll find a lot of youngsters. They say, "Oh, I'm getting six-figure salary. I'm doing so good and all." So they internally you feel that, okay, I am no one. I don't have any idea. There are so many people who are projecting themselves good. So even if they are not good, but because they are projecting wrongly, you try to put yourself into that shoe rather than being into somebody's shoe. Be unique, be individual, and something that you are unique to yourself, and that is where you will be bringing value, and that is how you break the internal barriers and come up as a good leader.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Alexander. And I will add to that as well. I think one of the main things as well is trust. Being able to trust your mentors, trusting different people, trusting your friends, family, etc. It's great to have the support. It's great to have mentors. It's great to have exceptional leaders. But unless you can fundamentally trust them, like how you can trust, I mean, we can't even trust AI. But I mean, people do trust AI. Some people don't. Some people have very, very controversial opinions on AI. But trust is fundamental to all this. And by the way, we've literally got 2 minutes left. So Mazni, we'll bring you in 30 seconds onto this, and then we're going to have to round things up. So Mazni, please share your last thoughts, and then we'll have to finish things up.
Yeah. So what I wanted to add on is that something that we overlooked. We thought that the older generations, like for all of us, we know what is imposter syndrome. So when I was doing mentorship for young youth between the age of 18 to 24, they tend to have self-doubt. They have often they have imposter syndrome, and especially for young people, they will hold back. So one of the ways I feel to overcome these barriers, they can actually take small steps to celebrate small achievements, because they thought that only by big achievements I will be recognized. But then in order to build the confidence, right, they should be able to adopt more small responsibilities at the start, and then when they start building the confidence, the leadership skills will actually come up and show up. So embrace a growth mindset and view challenges as learning opportunities. That's my closing statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Matt, quickly, and then we'll have to round things out.
I was actually going to type it out, but thanks, Russell. So there's a quote by Sean Puri: "The cynics get to be right, the optimists get to be rich." Yeah. Most of these internal barriers are barriers we create for ourselves. Yeah. So by being a cynic, you get to be right, but that's 99% right, 100% wrong. Because what matters is that 1%, that edge that you get by trying things out and putting yourself out there and pushing yourself. Yeah. So that's it for me.
Well, that's it. And on that note, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you to everybody. And make sure you check out everyone on this fantastic panel. It's been a fantastic discussion. And you guys, all of you had so much to say. It was so, I've never had a panel like this where everyone's like, I want to jump in. I want to jump in. I want to jump in. So it's fantastic to see. And it's been an amazing session. So thank you, everyone. And like I said, make sure you follow them all on LinkedIn. Go and check them out. Khalid, Alexander, Matt, Mazni, everyone here. And on that note, we're going to finish things up. So Gaba was well. And Christopher, over to you. Bye.
Bye.
I have a hope. that each of you with us today, wherever you're at from around the world, that you'll find yourself a leader, a servant, a mentor to a young person in this world, just one. I have a hope that in our times of business dealings, in our times of innovation, in our times of selling, in our time of buying, in our time of guiding and consulting, I have a hope that you'll just take one person in this world and guide her or him toward a better path. I have a hope that you would remember that it wasn't too long ago that somebody took time in this world to guide you. That somebody in the forest, on the path, on the trek, simply pointed you into the right direction. I now know why we came together and why we've arrived to this point for our 31st Global Summit of GatherVerse. I now know why. As I was just sitting there looking here in studio, working with the different team that we have around the world, enjoying my bowl of oats, I heard people speak from the heart. I saw the desire for professionals to want to not only make things great for themselves, but take an inch of the time that they have, knowing how time is fleeting, to dedicate these moments as a time capsule, time stamped in life for the betterment and the preservation of our youth. I have a hope. I have a hope that I'm not alone here at GatherVerse. I have a hope that you would see the value of what it is for us to be able to assemble together and to extend human preservation of expression now that we're having more interaction with machines than ever before. I have a hope. I feel as if we have just begun. I feel like GatherVerse is more timely now more than ever, and I have a hope that you would tell somebody that we exist. That there's a place for strangers to arrive at midnight and daylight, afternoon and morning, dusk at dawn, to be able to arrive together, to be able to have expressions shared from their lens and cultural perspectives, cross-cultural communication at the intersection of emerging technologies and humanity. I have a hope that you have found benefit within this GatherVerse community. That you would care for one another. That you will just do just that much more to help alleviate the hardships of another. And in this instance, our youth. We've innovated a thing we know not. And they will undoubtedly inherit what it is that we contribute. Whether we are conscious of this or not, they will. Somebody took the time to guide us and to do right by us, by goodness, and by all that's right. As I've been taught, might we give back freely that which was freely given unto us. I have a hope. And this week we have more GatherVerse Day 2 and Day 3 Summit. And next week we have Day 4 and Day 5. I've had so many mentors that have helped guide me along the way. I've been under the banner, under the tutelage, as far as technology goes, under some of the most brilliant minds I've ever known in technology. And some of the greatest things I've ever learned from them is not technology. Is that each of them had the compassion and the time to be able to teach a kid like me from Oakland, California, from the poorer cities and the ghettos, to show me how to go about it the right way. They didn't have to do it, and they never asked for a dime. And they gave more than I could possibly repay, both women and men. There's never been more of an important time to be able to let our youth know the pathway forward. Because when you and I entered this forest on this path so deep, had we had appreciation that somebody came before us and laid down the foundation for us to walk on in the first place, and we become so far and so further into this forest, so deep and off the path that we've begun to have to be able to create pavement for those that come behind us, that we're so deep in the trenches beyond the branches and the brambles. And the only thing I ask of you in this hope, in this moment, is don't forget to leave the light on. Because whether we realize it or not, somebody did the same for us, and we may never know who they are. Now, if you think that this is all about business, you got another thing coming to you. GatherVerse has gone from being a business-centric platform to a humanity-centric platform, and finding the next steps in the next way that's encapsulated in ethics and trust, safety and privacy, accessibility, care, compassion. And maybe in the midst of all that, we'll find a little bit of joy, and we'll do it together. I'm so thankful that we were afforded the opportunity to turn the lights on, to turn and power this studio on. We're thankful for our sponsors. We're always open to sponsorship. We're a free organization, and we approach that with humility and humbleness. Whatever we got to do to keep the lights on, we're willing to do it. And we approach this with servants' hearts. It's not about influencers for us. This is about you and how we can serve to make what you do in life a better example unto others. We thank you. We hope that you'll join us at GatherVerse Youth Summit Day 2 tomorrow. We have a lot. We have a lot to carry. And all of you that are with us at GatherVerse.live, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and more, thank you for staying with us all the journey's way. My name is Christopher Lafayette, the founder of GatherVerse, an emergent technologist, humanitarian, co-founder of Just Verify, founder of Lafayette Global Launchpad. But at the end of the day, I'm just a son and a servant. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to serve each of you. For GatherVerse Summit, Youth Summit, Day 1, are gathered as well. And on tomorrow, when we meet at GatherVerse Youth Summit Day 2, may our gather be well.
he's satisfied is when he's on a drug. Oh, mothers, tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. Well, I got one foot on the platform, the other foot on the trail. Going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain. Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know